Today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how. So, my business has gone through quite a bit of a transformation over definitely the past few months, like really transformative, um, and especially over the course of the past year. One of the things that has helped me sort of like weed through the muck of all of the things that I could continue to do, stop doing, like start doing, like all of that. My sort of guiding principle has first been, okay, what can I stop doing? Because in order to be more effective in what I am doing, I needed to limit my activities. I had a baby this year. Many know this, but not all. And when I had Algernon, I had no idea what my life was going to look like after he was born. You know, I gave my life a lot of space to be shaped around what it is to be a mother and what it is to care for a baby. And I intentionally made decisions around how my life looked over the past few years, and especially the last year, so that I would be able to be fully there and present with him. And that doesn't mean that it's not hard, because it's really, really, really hard, like a lot of the time. But it is also really, really wonderful. A lot of, like most of the time. Like we're going to the zoo right now. That's pretty sweet. So what can I stop doing is the first thing. And within stop, there is what does not need to be happening. Like no one needs to be doing this. Like I don't need to hire someone to do this. This is just like a thing that doesn't need to happen. So that was one thing. And then what do I hire out? Like what are the things that I'm doing that take up a lot of my time, but that I don't need to be doing, that I like already have systems around that I can transfer to somebody else. So that for me looked like social media, video editing, blog writing, those pieces. And then also within the projects that I do, hiring out the technical writing, because like I don't need to be the one who puts together the first draft of an employee handbook, right? Like I have all of the policies. I can have the conversation with my client, and I can tell my contractor, like, okay, feedback from the client is this is what they want, like, and then they can move forward with that project. And then I can just be doing the part that I love, which is working with clients. So this is like the thing, right? Like what are the things that I stop so that I have more time to be able to spend on other things that are more meaningful and actually just like better for the business and help it grow. Like one of the things that I got to spend some time on recently is like, okay, what's the plan for the next 6 months? Like, what am I going to be talking about? Like, I love to speak and to share information and to share what I know. And so how can I do that in a way that is sustainable for me and my family and the business and for all of you guys? The next thing is like, what do I, within stop, what do I have a system handle for me? So like, for example, Calendly is how I do all of my bookings. And Stripe is connected to Calendly, and that's how people pay for one-off HR sessions with me. And I'm looking at another system that's called Active Campaign that links. It basically helps manage, like, it's like a CRM. And it also integrates with web pages, and so it helps you keep track of all the people that you're in contact with, right? Because as my business is growing and the reach is growing and the audience is growing, like I don't know what's happening with all of that, just like intuitively, right? So I can't it's hard for me to like pull reports from just like my brain, like reading what's going on. So that's stop. The next one is pause. So in the realm of like pause is what does not need to happen right now. Like, so I am generally not a procrastinator, right? Like in my business, in things that I love, I'm not a procrastinator. In doing dishes or like cleaning the house, like there are things that I will procrastinate forever, like making the bed, like I never do that. In pause, like there are things that don't need to happen right now. And I feel like in business, for me at least, it feels like I'm behind and like everything needs to be happening yesterday, or it like has to happen today. It has to happen this week. It has to like, there's just this like pressure to be always doing. And it just isn't sometimes possible for me to actually get done. It's impossible for me to get done all of the things that are on my list, like that I would love to get done this week, is just not going to happen. So in the world of pause, I schedule ahead, right? Like I look at my capacity. Currently, I have a lot of work that's going on with clients, which means that the work that I do on my business and on growing my business needs to shift, right? Like I just don't have an insane amount of capacity for that at this time, which is a blessing because I have a lot of good work that's coming through with clients that I love. But it also means that there are a lot of things that need to pause. I have like a couple ways of pausing. One is I use asana for project management, and I put my tasks in asana, which is great because it got all of my tasks off of my Google Calendar, and like it just created so much freedom for me actually in my life to not like go to my calendar and be like, oh my God, these are like a million things that I have to get done today. Now they're just like listed all in asana. So I can take things and schedule them for like next month or like next week. And there are some things that just like go to the bottom of the list all the time, and that's fine. That's what it is. Like they're usually the things that actually will have like the most impact on the growth of the business, which is, but they take a lot of mental brain capacity in order to do. And a lot of like, for me, creativity needs various iterations and downtime, and it needs like space to grow. So in the pause, you give your ideas space to grow, space to change, and it can be really, really a useful tool, actually. Because when you get to the thing, you're better prepared to do the thing if you pause on the right ones at the right time. And then the last is what continues. And I had to have a pretty hard, look at the offers that I was putting into the world and what was sustainable for me and my team to keep doing at scale, and what didn't fit anymore. And so one of the things that didn't fit anymore is a coaching program that I was doing. And that doesn't mean that I will never do coaching program again. So this may be more of a pause than a stop, but what I continued with were things that I learned when I was doing that coaching program that were the most impactful for my clients. And so I kept strategy sessions, right? Like hour-long calls where we can, talk about how to do something together, or I can tell you how to do it and then you can go and implement it yourself. VIP days where I can do trainings, and there's another sort of section of that which is still being built out, but is a fractional chief people officer. And so these were the things that were a part of the coaching program that people really actually used all the time. So I continued with those. And then in sort of like the bigger offerings, I was like getting so frustrated about like building employee handbooks, right? I'm like, it's so detail oriented and so technical, and like it's so important to get it right. Um, but I was not loving it anymore. And so I was like, gonna just totally put it on the shelf. And then I was like, wait, no, like you can keep doing employee handbooks. You can just hire out the piece that you don't love. Um, so employee handbooks stayed as a thing that Fortress and Flourish does. Building out HR like systems and policies for companies is something that stayed too. This is like, I think, a really important like foundational thing to do in a business, especially as you're growing past 10 employees, past 20 employees. If you're preparing to be acquired by another company or you're looking for investment, if you have these systems in place, it can show that you have your ducks in a row, you got your shit together. So that was important for me to keep. Also, I love policy building and development, so that was awesome. And then another piece that I love is building transparent systems of pay. So that stayed, because I think that in order to have a substantial effect on equality in the workplace, pay has to be looked at deeply and it has to be a part of the conversation. And there has to be a fair and equitable system for distributing the money among the staff. And benefits and all of these other pieces are a part of it too. So, so stop, pause, and continue is this lens through which I even daily think about what I'm doing and whether I should be doing it or not, and to kind of like get through the sometimes quagmire that it is to be a business owner. So I hope that's helpful to you.